Hi there, welcome to Octokeeper's Devlog series. How is it going? Since last episode I have moved to a different town because of my job. That messed up my daily routine, and I haven't been able to work on Octokeeper, but I'm back with an update. The swimming system for the baby octopus is in place. As we saw in the previous episode, the player can throw it in the water and now it can swim around. But it will get nervous if the player is too far away. Let's review the work I have done to achieve this. When the baby octopus dives into the water, it rises to the surface. Then it picks a random direction to swim to. But I needed to determine if the spot is fit to swim in. I achieved that by asking my tile map manager if the desired position had a water tile. In case that position wasn't in the water, it will choose another direction and search again. I use a state machine for this behavior. The pet will have different states in which it will behave differently. But as I want the baby octopus to chase the player, in case he or she is too far away, it will be constantly checking the distance. If it's too far away, the baby octopus will change its state to chase the player. This behavior is similar to the one where it's swimming randomly, but the direction is given by the player's position. Otherwise, it will stand still until the player returns to an acceptable distance. But enough code for now, let's see it in action. I made a mistake and didn't set the swim direction when searching for the player. And I needed to add another state, one where the baby octopus is searching for the player but it is standing still. In this state, it will check the distance to see if it should go back to swim around happily. Having this extra state, the baby octopus can go back to swim normally. The programming was in place, so I needed to get into creating all the animations for this mechanic. I started with the idle animations. For all the art of Octokeeper I'm using Asprite. It is great for animating stuff. Here is the result of the front idle animation. Then I exported it and created the animation in Unity to see the transition between diving and the idle states. It seemed to work fine. I wanted to jump into creating all 8 directions for the idle animation, but I got carried away and made the front swing animation instead. At first I thought about making this animation in a loop, so the baby octopus will front crawl repeatedly. However, later I changed it. We will see why in a moment. For the swimming animation, I wanted to play a sound. For that, I use an animation event to play a water swirl effect. This animation event will call a public function and use the audio manager to play the sound. It will choose from an array of sounds and play it at the position of the baby octopus. It will also apply a random variation in the pitch, so I can achieve a larger amount of sounds. The sound had a noticeable delay, so I decided to play it at the start of the animation. Here was the result. I jumped back into Asprite and made the remaining directions for the swim animation. And after that, I made the 8 idle animations. The good thing about the baby octopus is that its sprite is pretty much symmetrical, so I was able to mirror some frames and ease the workload. Then I exported the animation as sprite sheets and jumped back into Unity. As always, I configured the images to achieve a good pixel art effect and made the actual animations in Unity. Until this point, I used some test animations to see if the swimming mechanic was working. They were the idle and swimming animations in the front version. But now, having all the directions, I needed to replace some parts of the code. I called the animation manager to play the desired animation in the current direction. But I modified the swimming animation a bit. Instead of crawling repeatedly until reaching the destination, I made a loop at the end of the animation. So when the baby octopus is swimming relaxed, it will only do a front crawl, and float towards the destination. I think this approach made the swimming mechanic more chill. I also tweaked the variables that determine the length of each front crawl, the time the baby octopus goes idle, and even the speed of the movement. However, opposed to the relaxed swimming, when the player is far away from the baby octopus, it will swing scared towards the player. This animation will consist of a variation of the swimming one, using only 4 frames and changing the face and the water splashes of the baby octopus. Does it look anxious? Well, don't leave it alone. I also needed to make some changes in the code to call this new animation. It was time to test this scare mechanic. It wasn't working too bad, but I noticed something. It seemed like the baby octopus was stuck between searching for the player and swimming peacefully. I debugged the component that holds the state of the baby octopus, and as you can see, it switches between idle and follow the player. This was happening because the baby octopus is constantly checking the distance between it and the player, and if it moves a little further from the player, it will switch back to following him. So I made a timer. If the pet is searching for the player, it can't go back to swimming peacefully in a little while. I also made sure that the animation is changed when entering the scare state. As you can see, it was working okay, but something was missing. How does an octopus sound? Well, in real life they don't make any sound, but this is a game. I didn't want the player to leave the baby octopus behind without noticing it, and probably without being annoyed by the sound it makes. So I found a sound emulating a dolphin scream. Using Audacity, I changed the pitch and the speed of the sound. I also applied other effects, edit the start and the finish of the sound so it will have a nice fade in and fade out. And there you go, we have a scared octopus sound. I didn't want to play this sound as an animation event because it would be really annoying. When the baby octopus is scared, it plays in a loop a 4-frame long animation. Imagine hearing this scream once every 4 animation frames. Maybe it would be useful to force the player to take good care of the baby. But this game is about choices, and if you want to torture the poor thing, be my guest. Anyway, it's been a while since I uploaded a video. Moving to a different town is a bit hard, and I had weeks where I couldn't even work for a minute on Octokeeper. But now I'm settled and can make some progress. I really enjoy making this game and hearing your feedback. Next, I will be working on making mechanics such as swimming, eating, or even combat affect the status of the baby octopus. Something like storing the mood of the pet to determine how the player is taking care of it. But that will have to wait for the next episode. Hope you enjoyed this devlog. If you did, please subscribe so you don't miss any new updates. I also have a Discord server, in case you want to chat. Leave a comment if you have any suggestions or ideas for Octokeeper. I would love to read your feedback. Thanks for watching, see you in the next episode.